Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barreto, and today I'm here with my co-host, my uncle, Andrew Barreto. And today, lots to talk about. A couple major trades going down, or went down in the NFL. Some big contract extensions as well that we'll get into. In the NBA, we have our NBA Finals matchup. It's a rematch from 1999. So we'll give you our thoughts on Game 7 in the West, and then we'll also give you our finals predictions. Moving on to the MLB, we'll talk about our weekly standings update as well as just some news going around the league. I'm going to talk about soccer for, I believe, the very first time on this podcast. Crazy or not, the UCL Championship game did happen between Arsenal and PSG. I did watch it. I'll talk about it. And then we'll end off in Formula One. But to start us off, crazy trade news. The reigning defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, who has a no trade clause, got traded to the Los Angeles Rams. The Browns, they acquired Jared Verse, a 2027 first round pick, a 2028 second round pick, and a 2029 third round pick. So obviously a massive haul. But the Rams going all in. It's reminding me of 2021 when they won it all. They that back then they traded for Stafford, big trade. Now they're trading on the other side of the ball and acquired Myles Garrett. And I saw the rumors. I saw something saying, teams are interested. And I was like, yeah, why? Who wouldn't be interested in the two-time Defensive Player of the Year? Then it actually happened, and I was just like, yeah, if the Rams aren't your Super Bowl favorite or to win it all, I don't know who is. Especially when Aaron Donald is hinting that, hey, maybe I can come back and play alongside this guy.
I mean, and I'm sure Donald is, and he's a guy who's already lifting weights. That's his daily. He's not. This news is not making him go push more weight. Maybe it is. I could see him coming back. I mean, he's only 35 years old. Teaming up with Myles Garrett. Yeah, this one kind of drops you to your knees, and you're just like in shock, like you couldn't believe like Rams pulled this off, and sounds like they were just a little upset of not being representative in the Super Bowl last year. That could have been them holding that trophy up high, and this is huge. I mean, you're talking, one of the best defenders in football, all-time sack leader, and yeah, yeah, exactly. How does this not make you better? And how does this? You are the favorite to win the Super Bowl at this point, and especially if you get Aaron Donald back, team those guys up, and watch out. Here comes the Rams. They mean business.
Yeah, and for like you said, for a team that was so close to going to the Super Bowl, and probably if they went, they would have won. They did a lot. They traded for Trent McDuffie, right? The cornerback position was a weak position for them last season. They traded for Trent McDuffie. They brought in Jalen Watson. Then they traded for a multi-time Defensive Player of the Year. Yes, they had to give away Jared Verse, but to me, it's a night and day difference between Jared Verse and Myles Garrett. No one is better as an edge rusher getting to the quarterback than Myles Garrett. And, like I said, they have to be the clear favorites. You have Stafford coming off the MVP. Puka Nakua going to a contract year. Expect crazy numbers from him. Devontae Adams is still Devontae Adams. Then you have Myles Garrett, Trent McDuffie on the defensive side. I mean, this Rams team, in a tough division, and I know the Seahawks are in that division, but I think the Rams are now the best team, not only in the NFC West, but in the league. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, they really don't care about their draft picks. And that's just, they last time they traded all their draft picks, they won a Super Bowl. Now they traded them again. And who knows? Maybe they'll be going to the Super Bowl and winning it because this is just not a move you see often. I mean, I don't remember the last time a Defensive Player of the Year player got traded to a stacked team like this.
And it's like you see these deals, and there's no trade clause, and you never think that's going to happen. Well, here's proof that anything can happen. Those guys who are working the numbers or working those deals, they're just they're geniuses to pull this off. And we always look at you're giving up a lot of your youth, right? Your young defensive player adverse, and then you're giving up those first rounders. Is it one? It's one first rounder,
One first round, a second, and
second
a
rounder, third
third.
round. And you're giving up that draft capital, but they're all in now. They went to the blackjack table, they went all in. Whatever you poker table, they went all in. And this I this is hard not to be excited if you're a Rams fan. This is a huge deal, and yeah, I think they're going to be a problem next year.
Yeah, most definitely. And some people were mad at the Browns that they didn't get more from Myles Garrett. But you got to see from the Browns' perspective. Garrett is 31, right? He's not the younger side like their team is now. And I thought they got a great haul. I mean, Jared Verse ain't no push around. He is an all not all pro maybe. He's a Pro Bowl type player. He's a guy that can put up double digit sacks. I mean, he was the best edge rusher on the Rams last year. He is a good edge rusher. And then you get the draft capital, and people are like, "Oh, they should have got more first round picks." First round picks don't equal anything. They're just a pick. It could be a bust. I mean, trust me, we've seen it. 2000 what? 2009?
Yeah.
2007 or 2009, we drafted Jamarcus Russell first overall. I mean, first round picks don't mean anything. And yes, people are like, oh, it's going to be picked 30 to 32. Yeah, that's true.
Right.
But
Yeah.
like I said, they get Jared Verse. He's going to, try to do half of what Myles Garrett does on that defensive line. Then you get three picks, right? You could trade those picks, you could draft them. I mean, that's the direction the Browns are heading. Obviously, Myles Garrett, yeah, fantastic play, but he just wasn't fitting their timeline. And so they said, hey, this is a and I think another thing was is teams didn't have a great player like Jared Verse that they wanted to ship out for Myles Garrett. So I think that's what made the Rams a fit. The Rams were willing to trade Verse, and ultimately they got the job done. The Browns are just trying to build for the future and get themselves back in the playoffs.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I like going with veterans. I know some people want to save the draft picks for the future, whatever that may be. But the Rams feel like they should. They're there now. And to get a guy like Myles Garrett for some future draft picks, I think they'll work their magic again. Like you said, Nakua has a contract year, and we'll see how that's structured. Since they have so much money in I'm drawing a blank on the quarterback, Stafford and Adams, Devontae Adams, and now Myles Garrett. Hey, I'm not well versed enough in that all that structuring, but they always seem to work it out. Those type of teams, they have some good guys working on that, and um, yeah, it's just big surprise, but good for the Rams.
Another big surprise, and I actually might not have seen a surprise, but the Eagles, they dealt wide receiver, Pro Bowl, All Pro wide receiver, AJ Brown, to Foxborough. He's going to New England, reuniting with former head coach Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots for a 2028 first round pick and a 2027 fifth round pick. Obviously, you know, last season was really bad offensively for Philadelphia. They did go to the playoffs. They lost in the wild card to the Niners. And we heard it all, you've seen it all about AJ Brown being unhappy. Now he's going to New England. He's the clear wide receiver one. New England was just in the Super Bowl, although they got humiliated in the Super Bowl, looking to go back, and they give Drake May a phenomenal option. Um, do I think he's gonna put up the numbers in Philly? I don't know. Just because Philly's offense was so great. Yeah, Devontae Smith was also getting 1,000 yards, but they had Saquon Barkley. They had a run game that opened up the passing game. Jalen Hurts, who I think, when the offense is thriving, is one of the better quarterbacks in the league, better than Drake May. And so obviously Brown's gonna have a great year. May's gonna, rely on him a lot. But for the Eagles, I really like it, right? You kind of get the toxicity out of the building. You let Devontae Smith be your wide receiver one, and obviously, he could do that. He's a Heisman winner, and so you let, some, like I said, some of the toxicity leave the building. You gain draft capital. We all know Howie Roseman is a genius when it comes to not only trading for players but also drafting. So I like this move for Philly. I think it's kind of a win-win for both teams, but I think I like this for more. I think I like Philly more for this.
Yeah, AJ Brown. Yeah, immediately he's the number one receiver. With the Patriots, and um, I agree. I don't think the numbers will be the same. That year Saquon's, I can't remember if he was at 2,000 or if he was a little under 2,000 yards. When you have that kind of running back opens up the pass and all those guys were eating, right? There was enough food to go around for all those guys in that offense. Um, you know, so it looks like Patriots got their number one receiver. We'll just have to wait and see how it works out. I mean, personally, I think I think the Patriots take a step back next year, and they get too much drama going around with them. With their head coach and did he cheat? Did he not cheat? And now they're bringing in somebody who
He
he's
cheated,
had.
all right.
Hey, and then they brought in a guy who holds his own drama, right? Like he's got you
Yeah.
unhappy. It was clear he was unhappy. It was just a matter of time. They try to put band-aids on it and make it work. It was just clock was ticking. Now's the time, and he's happy. He's in a new place, gets to start all over again. But yeah, we'll see how the season plays out. But like I said, I think they kind of regress and get back to some. They're young guys. There's a lot of young talent on that team. I just think they. Uh, hit the lot, not the lottery, but they were just overachieving for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. I think they got very fortunate last season. Ended up going all the way, and like I said, they kind of got humiliated by the Seahawks. But yeah, overachieve is a great word. We'll see what holds for them next season. It's going to be very interesting. Um, but that is that. Moving on. Before we go on to a couple of extensions, you weren't here last week, but I talked about it. Josh Jacobs and the Packers. He was released. He's currently still under an investigation, I should say. He's practicing while prosecutors are considering whether to file charges or not. So that's an update on that. Coach LaFleur said, I would say business as usual, saying hasn't really caused the distraction, even though don't know how that happens. But so looks like for fantasy, he could still play. No update as of what's going to happen to him from the league has come out. So as long as things are staying the way they are, should be fine.
You got to
Um,
watch out drafting that guy though. If you're going to draft him early, there's a potential that he's missing a few games. So
yeah, yeah.
disclaimer: watch out. Follow the Josh Jacobs dramatics to see where he stands.
Yes, moving on to the first of two contract extensions. This is a guy, I'm being completely honest, never heard of. But he must be great. Steelers and linebacker Nick Herbig agreed to a 4-year, $100 million contract extension. It's 42 million guaranteed. Like I said, I have never heard of this dude. And usually, I know the Steelers defense is because usually they're great. He is a guy I do not know of. He's a fourth round pick entering the final year of his rookie draft, or rookie, not rookie draft, his rookie contract. He tallied a career high 7.5 sacks while producing 30 tackles, 13 TFLs, 3 forced fumbles, 3 pass deflected defense, and his first career interception. So great year, obviously, um, this past season. Like I said, I haven't heard of him. He gets a big contract extension. That's great for him. But I believe, what's the edge rusher? Highsmith, Alex Highsmith. I'm pretty sure he's due for a contract extension too. So it's and he's the edge rusher alongside of TJ Watt. But yeah, so Herbig gets a big contract. Good for him. We'll see how he does. New name I learned. You learn something new every day, and yeah,
Hey, just so that you know, I never heard of him either. We're kind of far away from Steeler Nation, so yeah, that's new. That's news to me, and yeah, that's a massive contract. Uh, maybe they're trying to rebuild that steel curtain or something like that. But um, yeah, good for him. Fourth round pick. 24 years old. That could be. We're gonna lock him up now. He's a young guy, and maybe just build off of that 2025 season.
yeah. So yeah, his 25 million per year is now. Yeah, so yeah, his 25 million per year. So he's not a tight, he's not a linebacker. Even well, he's a linebacker, but he's more of an edge rusher. That means they have 83 million between him, Watt, and Highsmith. So Steelers uh investing a lot into the edge rush, and obviously so. But moving on to our second contract extension, it's in Atlanta. Falcons wide receiver Drake London agrees to a 4-year, $141 million extension. Big, big money. It's 100 million guaranteed. Could be worth up to 150. And this is it's 35 million a year. Puts him third among highest paid receivers, just above Justin Jefferson. And you know, it's well deserved. He is their franchise receiver. Problem is, they don't have a franchise quarterback. You got Tua Tagovailoa or Michael Penix. That will be the team starting quarterback this upcoming year. But since being the eighth overall pick in 2022, he's averaging 77 receptions per season, 990 yards, and 5.5 touchdowns per year. Um, did miss some time in 2025, but he has been with many quarterbacks: Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix, and with Michael Penix coming back from the injury, most likely, like I said, Tua Tagovailoa could be the week one starter. So he's dealt with a lot of quarterbacks. Kind of reminded me of Terry McLaurin, right? Going through all these quarterbacks, but still producing. So I'd say well deserved. I'm looking at it more than Justin Jefferson. Controversial, but nonetheless, I mean the Falcons gotta try to keep some of the players.
That's like the first thing I saw was the top receivers contracts, and it goes, he's ahead of Justin Jefferson, C.D. Lamb, and Drake London's third to Jamar Chase and JSN, and I was kind of like, really, credit to him for still producing, like you said, with the many different quarterbacks he's had, and he is a guy I've heard of. I didn't, so. For whatever that's worth, is the main guy I would say on the Falcons, and yeah, you get these big contracts. It's time for you to get to work, and hopefully he just makes the Falcons owner proud.
Yeah, Arthur.
Arthur Blank.
Yeah, yeah. So Drake London getting big money. Good for him. We'll see how the Falcons do. It's gonna be another intriguing year for them. With their quarterback situation and things like that. I gotta stop saying that. It's like my third time saying things like that this episode. But moving on to the NBA. We had a game 7 in the West, the Spurs and the reigning champs OKC Thunder. And man, if you were not watching this game, you missed out on a great one. Back and forth. Spurs came out hot. Spurs coming out hot. Julian Champagnie, he was hitting threes. Vassell making shots. Wembanyama doing his thing. I mean, it was great basketball from the Spurs. I think arguably their best game played as a team. Everyone that they needed to contributed. Champagnie 20 points. Vassell 11 points. Wembanyama 22 points. Fox 15 and Stephon Castle 16. And then Dylan Harper and Keldon Johnson off the bench both 12 and 11 points. I mean, it was just a great game for them. And on the other side, Shea, the MVP, he had 35. He did all he could. Um, Kason Wallace also 17. He was phenomenal off the bench. Or he actually might have started. He was phenomenal either way. And he was the reason that they were actually in the game. If it wasn't for Kason Wallace, if he didn't have his as great of a game he did, this would have been a blowout. But the Spurs ended up winning. They come out on top 111-103. Like I said, it was a fantastic game. Traded leads. Spurs got up ahead, made the stops, made the timely buckets, and they were going to the finals for the first time since 2014. And we got a rematch. We'll get into that rematch. But for the Thunder, I mean, Chet Holmgren, 4 points. 4 points in a game 7. Now, Jalen Williams from Santa Clara, he didn't play. Other Jalen Williams did. Chet, though, 1 for 2 on field goals, 2 for 4 from free throw. He didn't do much. Hartenstein, 7 points. Dort, 3 points. Alex Caruso only had 12. Jared McCain only had 12. But those guys did it off the bench. But yeah, that was the biggest talk of the game. Chet Holmgren, 4 points in a game 7. And for the Thunder, big contracts kick in. Chet's contract kicks in, and so does Jalen Williams' contract kicked in. So their money spending goes from about, I think, 150 million to up to about like 200 and something that they have spent on the team. And so their cap is going up, and they have some other contract extensions like Isaiah Hartenstein and Kason Wallace and guys, that are crucial to this team. And so it's going to be an interesting offseason to see what Sam Presti and the Thunder do. They trade all their draft picks that they have for a guy like Giannis. It's been a talk of the town. I don't know if it happened, but yeah, Thunder not going back to the finals. Spurs going to the finals. Well, they'll face off the Knicks.
Yeah, like you already mentioned, SGA, he just didn't have enough help in that series. He really needed homegrown to come through, like just like he did last year, and he needed the big three, right? Fortunately, Jalen Williams didn't from Santa Clara didn't play. That's a huge, right? That's over 20 points a game right there. That's on the bench. Caruso had, he was 3 of 14. McCain had an off night as well. He was 5 of 12, and um, yeah, just not enough with OKC, and the Spurs just bringing it like we talked about earlier. Just uh, Wemby's got that team on his back, and he's just got this killer mentality right now, playing some of the best basketball, um, you know, that we've seen in a little while, especially from a 7'4" center. Just
Yeah.
unheard of things. I mean, just things we've never seen from Shaq or Hakeem, or you name the center. You never
Never
seen
seen
a
a
guy
guy that big hit a step back three.
step back three. And when he did that, I turned the TV off. The game's over. You guys can't take that. That's if you're not gonna guard. There's no way to even guard that, right? I mean, he's faded out of bounds, whatever. And he just got everybody playing. Even Luke Cornett. How pumped up was that bench when he chased down
Oh
Hartenstein?
my goodness. That I
Uh,
was like,
he
that's
channeled he
that
channeled his
changed, dude. That
yeah
changed
he
like the end of the game.
he
That went from
channeled his
two
inner
points.
LeBron James right up against the backboard.
Not only was it now, it was two-handed. He
Yeah,
two-hand block. I mean, that was crazy.
straight up, no
Um,
foul. Just oh
yeah,
my
forget
goodness.
blocked by James. We're going blocked by Cornette now.
Right, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just we were talking about the Spurs played for Dylan Harper. Oh my goodness, have
Yeah.
I never liked watching a player more than him? Coming off the bench, he is perfect for the Spurs. I mean, I love the way he plays. He could shoot the ball. He could get to the rim. He could. I saw him trying to yam it on dudes a couple of times. I mean, Dylan Harper, he's becoming a favorite of mine. I mean, when the greatest of all time Curry retires, I might have to, be a Dylan
Oh,
Harper fan.
yeah.
Because, I mean, he was so shifty. I mean, at one point, he had Shea guarding him. He was doing a little dribble, and then he did like a step back three right in his face and knocked it down. I mean, Dylan Harper, he's going to be huge for the Knicks, not for the Knicks, for the Spurs in
And
this
and
game,
he's
in
a
this matchup
rookie.
against the Knicks. And
He's
he's
a
a rookie.
rookie.
He's a rookie.
Rookie at this largest stage where you're supposed to be young and scared and stepping up
You're not
to
even
the
supposed to be playing in these games.
that's supposed to be played. Like I know Kerr would say, "No, you're on the bench, dude." But you got a young coach, young team. They're doing good things, and this is going to be I think this is going to be one hell of a finals. Both teams are going to want it pretty damn badly, and we'll see. Uh, yeah, well, I'll let you give your thoughts on the finals there, but yeah, I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, so Wembanyama, he wins the Western Conference Finals MVP, right? Rightfully so.
Yeah.
But yes, we have a rematch of the 1999 Finals between the Spurs and the Knicks. Obviously, Spurs won it in '99. Knicks fans went going crazy in New York. But yeah, it's gonna be a good one. So when this episode is out, obviously it technically today will be Game One of the finals. But yeah, it's gonna I can't wait to watch this series. I mean, you have two teams who realistically only play about 7 to 8 guys total. And so it's gonna be battle of who's got more stamina and energy. But yeah, you have not Nick Brunson, Jalen Brunson and the Knicks versus Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs, and it's gonna be great matchups. Yeah, I mean, I'm rocking with the Spurs. I've been rocking with them all year.
Mm.
I got the Spurs in 6. If it goes 7, that's even better. We both got our prediction right of the finals matchup. Um, so I got the Spurs winning. I know you've been a Knicks guy, but who you got?
I tell you who I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for the Knicks. So I'm rooting for the Knicks. And wait, they have not won a finals since 1973. Okay, 1999 was the last time they lost to the Spurs. So you could say, oh yeah, that's a rematch, even though none of those players are, they'll
Yeah.
be in attendance. But I'm rooting for the Knicks, that whole city, the franchise. Like I said, yeah, I've been on the Brunson bandwagon for quite some time. I just think they have a solid team, obviously, to make it to the finals. I mean, what's his name here? I'm drawing a blank on his name. Carl
OG
Anthony
Anunoby?
Towns.
Oh,
Yeah, Carl
Garrett.
Anthony
Okay.
Towns. He's got his Villanova buddies, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart. Um, they even have some Jose Alvarado. They've signed him. Uh, and I just think that, but who's going to win? I think the Spurs end up taking it. I'm going to do that whole 6 games too. I think Wemby's too much. They can't take everything he throws at a team. The step back, the logo three, the rebounding, the defensive presence. And then he has everybody following suit. He's got Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell. All these guys. And don't forget, they got, not only do they got the youth, but they have uh, Harrison Barnes on the team, De'Aaron Fox. I keep waiting for these young guys, right? They're not supposed to be playing, like you said. They're not supposed to be playing in these games. I'm waiting for them to make a mistake so they can learn from that mistake, but it has not happened yet. And I just think they pulled this off. They end up uh, winning the finals. It's what I think they're one of the youngest teams right now, average about 21 years of age for the group I want.
Yes, it's something like that. I think it might be closer to 22, 23. But yeah, they are definitely one of probably the youngest team in the league. But for me, I think the biggest factor into this finals, obviously it's the superstars, right? Jalen Brunson, Victor Wembanyama, but it's the bench. To me, the Spurs have a better bench, a better scoring bench than the Knicks do. And so for me, like you got six man of the year, Keldon Johnson, who came up big in Game 7. Dylan Harper came up big in the games he was healthy in that series. But also, the Spurs have home court advantage, and I believe they played. I'm trying to think. I think they lost one game at home so far. And that was in the series against the Spurs, not against the Thunder. And so they have home court advantage. It's gonna be great for them. As for the Knicks, I mean, they steamrolled through everyone, but they also didn't face the teams that they were supposed to face, right? They faced a lot of lower seeds. They faced the Hawks, who were the one team that game, and they were the first round that their first round team that they played. They gave them the most challenge. Otherwise, they weren't supposed to play Philadelphia. They were supposed to realistically play Boston and the 2 seed. They weren't supposed to play the Cavs. They were supposed to play the one-seeded Pistons. And so the Knicks, to me, haven't really faced much adversity or challenge in these playoffs. And I think this series is going to give them some issues because it's just not kind of what they've been used to playing. It is also a rematch of the NBA Cup, which the Knicks did win, but that was a best of one. This is a best of seven. And to me, from what I've seen for the Spurs, they are a better team for a best of seven.
Yeah, I like what you said about the bench because I agree with you that I think the Spurs just loaded off the bench. And, if they end up double teaming Brunson and making it difficult for him to, explode like he has in the last few playoff series, now it's OG Ananobi, Mikal Bridges, a Josh Hart. Those guys are going to give you enough to win these games. Carl Anthony Towns. We'll just have to see how it plays out. I think that's where things might fall apart for them, um, because guys like De'Aaron Fox, either he starts or comes off the bench. I know he came off the bench, or no, he didn't even play a couple of those games because he was injured. But like you said, Dylan Harper, um, what's his name, Stephon Castle. Julian Champagny, like 20 points the last game. You know what I mean? Like these
If
guys
he
are.
gets hot, it's over for the Knicks. Because that's
Yeah.
what he was. Game 7, he was, I believe, 6 of 9 from 3. They couldn't do anything about him. He's just
It's
knocking down shots.
defensively, they're playing amazing basketball, and defensively as well. I mean, they're hounding. I know SGA got his 35, but the whole series, they made it difficult on him, and they forced other people to shoot the ball. I don't know if Caruso was ready to shoot that much, because SGA is, in all these, not put in the best situations. Holmgren's holding the ball. He's just passing it up because he feels that he doesn't have anything to give, as far as offense. So, you ended up having like Jared McCain, Kason Wallace become, SGA's helper there, and that just not enough against the Spurs. And yeah, I think, 6 games. I agree with you. 7 games would be great, but I think the Spurs end up pulling it off.
Yeah, I like what you said. The Spurs defense, it's a challenge, right? Obviously, you know, SGA got his own, but if it weren't for, I mean, Caruso had a couple of big games. I know game one he had a legacy game. He had 30 points. They did end up losing. Another game he had 20 points. One game, Jalen Williams, the other J Dub, or the other Jalen Williams, and Jared McCain had about 70. They had about like 50 points off the bench themselves.
Yeah,
And that's just something that to me the Knicks don't have. Deuce McBride, yeah, he could give you 10 points. Mitchell Robinson, I don't think he's gonna give you 10 points. I mean, they don't have enough guys off the bench that are gonna give him enough points, unlike the Spurs do. And so hoping, I'm always just hoping for a great finals, and I think that's what we'll get. But we got the Spurs in six. Excited to watch game one. Should be a good one.
yeah,
But moving on to MLB. We got our weekly MLB standings. In the AL East, the Rays, they are ahead of the Yankees, but they have the same amount of wins. They are both at 36 wins. However, Yankees do have one more loss. They're half a game behind. Blue Jays and Orioles both at 29 wins. They're trying to get their way into the wild card. In the AL Central, it's the Guardians at 34 and 27. The White Sox are 32 and 28. However, Munetaka Murakami is on the IL with, I believe, a hamstring injury. In the AL West, the A's are on a losing streak. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They dropped to third in the AL West. The Mariners are first place at 32 and 29, and the Rangers are 29 and 31 to fill in second place. In the National League, we have the Braves, best record in baseball. They are 40 and 20. Following them is the Phillies, who are 31 and 29. They've been great as of recent. In the NL Central, Brewers 36 and 21. They lead the division. Behind them is the Cardinals at 31 and 27. Then in the NL West, the Dodgers are 38 and 22. And then both the Diamondbacks and the Padres are 32 and 27. Diamondbacks, underrated team. They've been surprisingly very good so far. Padres had a really bad month of May. Fernando Tatis Jr. did hit his first home run of the year, so hopefully that gets him going. They did end up losing tonight, but they are playing the Phillies, so we'll see how that ends up. Still lots of baseball left to be played. Some news though: Christopher Sanchez, he is currently on a 44 and two-thirds innings of scoreless baseball. It's the longest streak in Phillies franchise history, but it's also the seventh longest in a single season. Um, he pitches when this episode comes out today against the Padres, and if he could go 4 innings, he would be third on the list because Bob Gibson is third on the list at 47 innings pitched, scoreless baseball. First is Oral Hershiser at 59, and Don,
Rashad.
yeah, Hershiser, my bad, and Don Drysdale at 58 innings pitched. So Sanchez could get there. However, he is, that's still two more starts if he wants to get first place. But it's been impressive nonetheless. He's been phenomenal. Absolutely just phenomenal. And so we'll see how that is. Jacob DeGrom, he earns his 100th career win. Great for him. Giants hire new third base coach after their base running mishaps have cost them lots of runs. Aaron Judge dealing with an injury. Uh, he's battling bone bruise in his rib cage. Josh Hader activated from the IL and is ready for a season debut. And I think that is all I've got for baseball. Obviously, 2 week school ball. His name's been thrown around in trade talks, but currently out with injury. We'll see how that goes. That is all for baseball. We're just Season's still somewhat young. We're heading to the summer stretch. But moving on to soccer, it's the UCL Champions League game. It was between Arsenal and PSG. PSG, the reigning champs. Arsenal, first time since '06 since they've been in this game. And I don't watch soccer. I don't watch these teams, but I was just told to go for Arsenal. Mostly told by my barber. He's been telling me to talk about soccer, so do this for him. But it was a hot start for Arsenal. In the 6th minute, Kai Havertz had an absolute banger of a goal. A mishap defensively by PSG. He goes one on one with the goalie and just gets a goal in. And after that, Arsenal parked the bus, and it was working. But I also think them going so heavily on defense cost them the game because to me PSG's defense wasn't that great. They were creating a lot of errors, a lot of mishaps. They were kind of sloppy. PSG as a whole was kind of sloppy, and I felt if Arsenal kept the pressure on them, they could have probably had 3 goals on them. Instead, Arsenal parked the bus. They brought they just full on defense, and that ultimately led to a PSG penalty, and Dembele ties the game 1-1. We ended up going to extra time. No one scored there. And then we went to PKs where the second PK for Arsenal goes wide left. And Emberici Eze missed wide left. Good thing Raya, the goalkeeper for Arsenal, um, the third shot from Nuno Menez from PSG. And then after PSG went up 4-3 on penalties, Gabriel Magalhaes skies the kick, skies it over the post. PSG go back to back and win the UCL Championship, and it's just heartbreak for Arsenal fans. I know they waited a long time for this game, but they fell short and they ended up losing. And it was a great game nonetheless. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I don't watch soccer. World Cup is coming up though. I will be watching that. I know the U.S. did win in a friendly game against Senegal. They won 3-2. They were testing things out there. So World Cup season is right around the corner. I believe it starts actually next, I don't know, about a week and a half. And so that is coming up. But yeah, so I watched the UCL Championship game. Great game, and guess I'll be watching soccer this summer. But
I think I'm gonna tune in too. I normally don't watch it myself, but
yeah,
now you're talking World Cup, right? That's just everybody, pretty much, right? So um, that's when the games get interesting. Just a lot of fans are gonna just lose their minds, and and it's in our backyard here. They're gonna have a bunch of games being played, Levi Stadium, and so yeah, it's pretty exciting, and baseball team's not doing too good at this time, and football season's out, and our basketball's down to the final two. So what better than the World Cup?
yeah, and watching the game, I was like, it's really nice. There's no commercials, there's no stoppage. Once the kickoff starts, it goes. Now, obviously, they have been doing this hydration timeout, where I think both teams get about like 2 minutes, I think, to like kind of like rest. So I think that's something that's new that they've implemented. That's like, but even then, it's not really stoppages. The clock still goes. Yeah, they had extra time, but yeah, no stoppages, no commercials. Um, and so the games do go by pretty quick, 90 minutes. But yeah, World Cup coming around the corner. We'll be talking about it. We'll keep everyone updated and see how that goes. But to end us off today in Formula One, it is race week. We're going to be in Monaco, so special races for a couple of people. For McLaren, it is their 1,000th Grand Prix, so they have a special suit, a special livery for their car. And for Charles Leclerc, it is obviously his home race. He's got a special suit. Don't know if Ferrari is going to have a special livery for their car. Leclerc should have a special helmet. I'm assuming we haven't seen that though, but he is going to have a nice, I want to say cream colored and red suit for the race. And heading into that race, obviously, Kimi Antonelli leads the drivers' championship at 131 points. Russell's in second. Leclerc is in third. Should be a good week Hopefully for the Ferrari, Mercedes engine, their compression ratio is no longer an advantage for them. The FIA have deemed it, I believe, illegal now, so they shouldn't have that. Ferrari is getting engine help with the ADUO. So I believe by next race they should have, maybe not next race, but maybe by next race in Barcelona they should have um, better engine. But yeah, so it's race week in Monaco. Should be a great one. Should be a beautiful one, and should be exciting. But that is all for today. Thank you all for tuning in. I'd like to thank my co-host, my uncle, for joining me today. Sorry for not getting post out this weekend. I had a grad party. I was busy. Things going on. So that's why I only got one post on. I was gonna get my post game reaction out, but I was at a party. I was like, maybe not the right time. Was super hyped though that the Spurs won. Um, but episodes every Wednesday. Post outs usually on Fridays through Sundays or Thursdays through Sundays. Like I said, you'll probably get my post game reactions out. Um, on games, we'll probably get them out. I'll probably get a couple out on the finals and maybe some baseball, but it's not postseason baseball, so maybe not yet. But once again, thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, stay ready.